No time!
Power scaling. It's when you take an idiot like this, and say, who would win? It's Piranha Plant, by the way. Now, years ago, I did this with the entire Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. Except for a few of them. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. So to make up for the fact that I didn't have all the characters, and how I might have been wrong on a lot of things, I decided to go all out this time, not miss a thing, and analyze all 82 characters. No, I'm not okay, thanks for asking. Before I begin, you may recall, yeah, that's a lot of characters! How did I research it? Well, I made a visual. Now, I can handle all the characters I know, it's just the ones I don't span maybe over 1,000 hours of gameplay. How do I do it? For the rest of the knowledge I needed to fill in, I utilized the Versus Battle Wiki. Okay, guys, please let me explain.
What's wrong with it anyways? I'm not crazy!
Ah, come on, nobody thinks you're crazy.
Alan, the website is overly pedantic. It uses various games unrelated by author or story to confirm ridiculous feats of strength.
Come on, it helps me fill in the blanks for niche series like Final Fantasy.
And it says I'm not a god? Yeah, I think this website's trash.
As usual, you're all wrong.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Skibidi toilet!
Hey, that's Monica from Doki Doki Panic.
I'm sure you're here to tell us something productive, helpful, maybe even inspiring.
Well, since we're talking about powerful characters, I thought you could use a good benchmark.
No way we're talking about you.
Yeah. It says here that I am able to manipulate reality and destroy a world.
Wait, what?
Why is there an old meme here?
This is what I'm talking about. This stuff is ridiculous.
They just hate to see women winning.
Hey, I'm a reborn evil. A plague that unleashes darkness along the earth.
Sounds like my 11 a.m. bathroom break.
How about the time I turned Hyrule?
Okay, okay.
Oh, a bitch.
I deserve a little bit of respect here. I beat the hero of time.
Congrats, you beat a 12-year-old.
Had the Triforce of Courage.
Okay, you know what? We need to set some rules because it's gonna get out of hand very quickly.
1. I'm right, you're wrong. Okay, this isn't a rule, but this time around, I really did decide not to hold back. I wanted to know every possible thing about each of these characters and make a completely informed decision about it, no matter how ridiculous it got. 2. What is a character? This may seem like I'm going crazy. I am. But for example, what Mario is this? Versions of Zelda, evolutions, super forms, power-ups, alternate personas. So, to make it simple, characters are going to be ranked based on their upper and lower limits. Take Sonic and Super Sonic versus Samus and her fully upgraded suit. However, if a character's new form is a totally different character, I can't include that. Don't worry, it'll become obvious later. You will be enlightened. And 3, RPG characters. Yay! They are gonna get their full endgame abilities. Any sort of spell they could have, they will have. Pokemon can only be that evolution up to level 99. And since summons in some games are sort of like spells, then they can use those as well? Actually, this is a good time to ask, what am I doing about this guy?
I could play another 300 hours of his game.
Joker's real form is just a high school student. Joker is a teenager, but can enter this fantasy wonderland where he becomes a superpowered superhero. So, how do we exactly rate that? Well, drum roll please. Because some characters bounce between dimensions on their days off, we're gonna consider Mementos its own dimension and in fact, allow Joker and all of his abilities to be fair game. That's right, he can do all the late game stuff he's used to doing, like playing a perfect game of darts.
And while I have you here, I don't care. There is no possible way for me to do this in a way where I cannot spoil a character's entire game story and legacy. So you know what? If you see a character on that screen, hit the road, hit the bricks, I don't give a fuck. They're being spoiled. There are no exceptions. except Olimar, because come on, you gotta respect that little fuck.
With that laid out, here are our tiers. We have 6 only, but they're split into higher and lower subcategories to really show the differences in power. S is they are literally busted. There's like, I cannot even fathom what they could and possibly will do. A, they bench press gods and handle universal threats for breakfast. B, they can destroy a planet or two, I'm not judging. C, and our largest tier, super powered superhumans and magical users. D tier, you might be actually able to beat up some of these characters. And welcome home, little buddy. Olimar is 1.9 centimeters tall. I will always love you. He could fight infections, eh? Even with an army of optimized Pikmin, he's probably only gonna make your foot itch.
Wait, before I go on, what do I do about characters that don't exist?
Ah, my relationship status. We have 3 characters here. Come on, guys, get out here. Wait, where's Robert?
Look behind yourself.
So these guys don't make any sense, because Mr. Game & Watch is not a character. He's an amalgamation of the Game & Watch games into a character. So, I mean, at best he's a regular guy that moves at 500 frames a second. But then we also have the Miis. Sure, we could make a little bit of an argument, but as a species, do I respect them? No. Oh yeah, Rob. Technically, Rob is canonically a toy in our real world, and he doesn't have any in-game canonical appearance.
Just gonna... Don't even think about it. Don't even worry about it.
All right, here we go. We got some us representation. Look at you. You did it.
We enter D tier, the only tier that beats the only character that fucks with ants, which isn't really much to celebrate, but it is commendable that the second place is 2 kids who climb mountains for fun.
Ice climbers. They're talented kids. They can climb a mountain, but they cry if they fall a little. Animal Crossing. These are just regular people where their biggest strength feat is digging up rocks and getting stung by bees. And Duck Hunt. I mean, it's 2 rabid animals somehow miraculously working together. Wait. Is that technically a third character being someone with the NES zapper off screen in another plane of existence?
Yeah!
Okay, but this is where the tier subcategories come into play.
As we can see, it's still very normal, but high D tier. This is the last possible tier anyone watching this video could be placed in. Unless you're some outer-worldly super being, which if you're watching this, eat my ass. But regardless, this is a tier where everyone in the audience could ask one question.
Welcome to the segment, Would You Win in a Fight? Please put your thoughts down below to see if you could win against these characters. So let's kick it off. Yep. I could kill it. The biggest strengths they have are they are pretty fit and they can swim through ink, which could be a good defensive option. Next, I think I could take Falcon in a fight. Come on, he's actually overplayed with how strong he is. He doesn't do anything. He sits on his ass longer than I do daily. He does show off some physical dexterity in... Hey, that looks like a series that exists. Mr. Falcon saves a baby from getting hit by a train, but wastes entirely too much time flipping and doing a cartwheel. Wii Fit Trainer's core is probably insane, but I think I could win in a fight.
Looks like you're not quite strong enough.
And the Star Fox Gang. Well, they did have genetically enhanced legs in Star Fox 64. Plus, they have quite a bit of weaponry and combat experience that is shown. So I think I'd have to say I might lose.
Okay, you may think, Wait a second, we're missing someone here, but C tier is nothing to be laughing at. There are no slouches here. This is where we get into real magic users. People who are superhumans, and no superhuman may compare to literally someone from New York.
Nope, I'm serious. These other characters have never really proven their combat skill, but Little Mac has in droves. This is all thanks to the Citizen Kane of Wii games, Punch-Out. In the Punch-Out universe, we have foes that are world-class boxers. Mac also technically can beat Mike Tyson, to put it in perspective, but we also have these like superhuman characters like Mr. Sandman, just, leveling a building, or Don Flamenco, who, casually tosses a bull into the air. Did you know he has a transformation as well?
Yeah.
This is the most grounded this video is gonna be. Where Little Mac has difficulty, however, is range. And the ARMS characters are walking weapons. Like, what? How do you just exist like this? How do you fit through doorways? Let go of a prayer. But what could overcome raw talent and training? Would you believe me if I said I'm lowballing this? Piranha Plant is kind of boosted by, well, we'll get to it, but what holds him back? Well, I'd say mobility. I did an empirical analysis on every time a Piranha Plant has appeared being able to be mobile in games, and
No, don't say it.
you can't count Patooey. Like, it's not the same character. I study Mario. I know.
Excuse me. What is that? Could you explain to me what that is? Because I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. What is this? Could you tell me? Because I clearly don't know.
And now, something that might surprise you. Listen, Zelda, in A Link Between Worlds, does not do more than Mario and Luigi's Mansion. She's only here because of the implied power the Triforce of Wisdom has. Same for Sheik. We never actually see Sheik do anything in Ocarina of Time, and stuff is only implied. They've literally proved nothing and still get away with being here. I'm really excited to see what Steve can do.
I know, Steve possesses a lot in terms of magic, armor that is just indestructible, and weapons that beat, the Ender Dragon and other beasts, of course, but
Steve possesses quite a bit in terms of equipment, weapons, magic, armor, but Lucas gets hit by a train and can survive explosions and all this other stuff too. Plus, at the end of Mother 3, we really get to see his true potential. Look at that. And now, everybody's two favorite super soldiers. They're masters in combat, both taking down armies and beasts all on their own. But who takes it? Wait, Snake, what are you? Oh, hey, no!
But if it was a nice ass competition, it would slide a different way.
We'll talk about Samus in more detail.
Bad!
But the fact that she's infused with alien DNA beats whatever super duper cocktail Snake has in him. I'm surprised she's not a little higher. We just don't have a lot to go off of with Zero Mission.
Snake's games aren't based around very impressive combat, but due to the sake of the Metal Gears in the game, as well as the opponents he takes on, he's more impressive than you think, and actually can be compared to Zero Suit Samus in a lot of ways. Just, as usual, it's a lot of weaponry, as well as lack of examples, compared to the tier we're about to get to, because if there's one thing I know, is that Pokemon and fighting games have a lot of bullshit! Ah!
The medium tier is home to two archetypes, Pokemon and fighting games. It's not that any of these characters are weak, it's just characters like Terry, Ryu, and Ken are capable of using magically enhanced powers to increase their stamina and strength, alongside their combat experience. While Little Mac could certainly go head-to-head with some of these guys, he'd lose out on all of the other goofy goober bullshit they have at their disposal. Ryu is lifting boulders, and his Satsui no Hada is demonstrated when Bison uses it and has enough power to destroy Bangkok. Ryu could be higher, but his potential is never explicitly shown. Ken's here because he's Knuff. Ken's here because they're on equal footing. But what about Cherry Gogurt? As far as I can tell, King of Fighters also mixes martial arts with magic casting for many of the characters. And Terry handles many of these types of opponents that could, for all intents and purposes, be in Street Fighter. The real thing that boosts Terry is the ending to King of Fighters 2000, where several characters in their endings tank or deflect a satellite laser.
Yeah.
Well, when you put it like that, whatever's next got to be some of the... Alright, get in here. This one's at least easy. Like, we're gonna assume they're max level, wild Pokemon. Except the guy who's obviously a trainer. Pokemon love saying stuff like this. Or this. What do I do with that? So, the way these discussions go is, we consider this Pokemon is as strong as this Pokemon, and this Pokemon broke a mountain, or leveled a city. So, we can sort of say maybe that they can do that too. Isn't this fun? Are you having fun?
By the way, baby Pokemon, they go down here. You think Snake can't take on Pichu?
Really though, I think all the Pokemon belong here if they're able to level buildings or multiple. So if you thought that was impressive, that's the baseline.
Welcome to high C tier. Can you destroy a meteor? Can you destroy a city? Blast a space laser away from the planet? That is what we're talking. Why is Lucina here?
Okay, Marth, Lucina, that one, and that one, they all have a wide breadth of skills. Especially Robin.
Robin. Do you know that I'm probably lowballing Robin?
So first off, Bingus, Dingus, and Pingus. They're Falchion users, which I checked is a sword and not a drug. Yeah, it's this one in Melee, and it does that. Well, surprisingly, that's actually pretty accurate to the lore, because this thing is busted. It can pierce those who are immortal, it can heal the user, and can destroy dragons. But a lot of these characters get boosted because of the Meteor skill. This is a spell that can be cast that literally summons a meteor. So we can conclude that these characters can survive being hit by a meteor and often gobble them up like they're the chocolate bar. Okay, well, how about Corrin? I think I have some in my freezer. Well, Corrin is pretty normal as far as these guys go, except having a super broken sword that beats an immortal dragon.
And if you were paying attention, that's not even all the Fire Emblem characters. How?
Now we get to the point where things get really wonky. Ike himself, pretty unremarkable. But when we factor in that at the end of his game, he defeats...
But don't worry, I saved the best for last. Just kidding, he goes down here actually.
Out of all the Fire Emblem characters, he's shown off the least impressive feats. Basically, Fire Emblem characters are boosted based off the insane powers of the dragons they end up beating. Oh, these stupid ass bendy straws. But the next two characters, oh, they handle threats even beyond that.
So before you say it, Pac-Man kills the undead. And Banjo-Kazooie, you're probably like, what? All of these Fire Emblem characters kill a dragon. Yeah, so does Banjo-Kazooie. One of them's a balloon.
Have you heard of Toon Force? At its best, it's the explanation of the physics that exist in cartoon universes. At its worst, it's bullshit. Banjo-Kazooie gets stepped on by a dinosaur. They tank hits from a fan blade and grenades. And they take down Grunty, who can survive being crushed by a boulder. Not to mention enduring earthquakes. Sometimes they can sort of be invincible. And Pac-Man. Yep, he defeats foes who can destroy giant walls and metal boxes. He also apparently has this. Why do you have that?
Banjo's pretty strong, but he would be no help without Kazooie.
So, what does Kazuya have over all of these other fighting game characters? Well, apparently we have these Jack enemies. They're the Goombas of the Tekken universe. Jack 6, when faced with a meteor, decides to...
Please make a U-turn when safe.
This guy gets one shot by Heihachi, and Kazuya beats him. By the way, this is gonna be a theme from now on. Other than that, True Devil Kazuya clashed with Akuma and made a volcano explode. I mean, it's standard for a Mario character, but for him, that's pretty impressive.
You know, I haven't said anything controversial in a while, and I really need the attention. Don't judge me, you're not a god.
Whoa. Ladies and germs, I give you the God tally. It's as simple as it looks. We keep tally when a character is a god.
I must have missed one. I don't have the heart to tell you who it is, though.
Palutena, the goddess of light, does not have a lot in the way of proving her strength. Sakurai did say she'd be one of the few characters who'd survive Galeem's attack.
Okay, so she apparently could survive, but what does that really mean? Like, Sakurai, you made the series. You could say anything about Palutena to be true, but all we see is she gets possessed in Kid Icarus Uprising, and Pit faces her, and then we have this short called Palutena's Revolting Dinner, where she gets chased by vegetables and urns, and it's like, the only reason you're so high is because you're literally called a goddess. That's all I'm gonna say on it. You're a fraud. I don't care.
I will always love you.
You told her.
And now we reach the end of this tier, with a question I'm sure many of you are interested in. Who is the strongest Link? It's Fierce Didi.
Wait, what's a Didi again?
So, young Link we see in Smash Bros. Melee and Ultimate is an example of Sakurai just sneezing and accidentally making a new character. Like, is this him before or after Majora's Mask? That's the ultimate question. He has fire arrows here, so we're basically just gonna round to Majora's Mask. And that character has a main arsenal of a ton of masks, which he changes his form with, as well as the Fierce Didi mask. It does a few itty-bitty things like destroy this godlike creature that creates his own pocket dimension for one, and for two, crashes the moon into the planet. But also, these two, they survive point. Toon Link's strength can lift up boulders. Not to mention, they take out demons that are comparable to strength of gods of creation.
They're handling foes of vast degrees with a weapon arsenal that is just beyond anything I was doing when I was 12 years old. I was just playing Roller Coaster Tycoon and drowning guests. Ganon was drowning Hyrule. And that's C tier. Only C tier. Surviving meteorites, killing immortal dragons, surviving space lasers. It's only the tip of the iceberg. We have 3 more tiers to go, and you may notice no room to put them. So, I've been waiting the whole video to do this. You ready? It's gonna be very satisfying, okay? 3, 2, 1. Not again.
All right, here we go. Here is the lowest the Mario series can reasonably go. Yeah.
I've deceived you. A lot of this Mario series goes here, actually. Because while a lot of them are strong in their own right, they're only comparable to the higher characters in the Mario tier list, and they ultimately fall below them because they aren't the ones performing their feats.
I think he's losing it.
I mean, he never really had it.
He's never even been in the same dimension as it.
Can therefore iterate that they actually can survive those other characters. Don't you love this?
Holding down meteors? Check. Withstanding hellfire? Of course. Navigating a tornado, surviving a point blank. These guys commonly endure explosions, falling from lethal heights, being electrocuted, being at insane underwater depths, or you know, setting up shop near a black hole.
Maybe you remember that the Mario series has a character that reoccurs oftentimes in the party and kart games, and she's, yeah. But just like Palutena, I mean, it doesn't really count for much. She doesn't actually do anything to prove her power in terms of scaling, and don't even get me started on the whole she created a new galaxy at the end of Mario Galaxy thing, because actually she was helpless to everything going on until Mario got the Power Stars, and Bowser did everything, so there you go. I know large women tend to scare men and makes them insecure, but this large woman deserves her spot up here for very good reasons.
Still, you're probably asking how this guy, this idiot, this bulbous-nosed dweeb, I don't even know why she's in the game. How did they all get all the way up here? Well, it's due to other characters in the series doing some actually insane stuff. So, for example, Donkey Kong. Sure, I know, I hear ya. Yeah, this character ain't shit.
Yeah.
And Rob... Rob, in his only game appearance, endures the same threats DK does. So, technically...
So B tier. This is where we find the Mario series.
It is, not a joke that people genuinely believe that Mario and Luigi could beat Sephiroth if they're a team, individually. But again, these two only make it so high because they endure Bowser's powers and durability pretty much allow Mario and Luigi to ascend to where they're at. Galaxy alone has them battle against this giga-sized Bowser and the forces he sends at them. Bowser edges up here because of his size manipulation and what he can destroy at that size pretty much effortlessly.
He punches Peach's castle around the planet and back to where he was. This more or less explains why Mario and Luigi get so high.
Usually they beat Bowser, but it's taken into account a lot of the situational stuff they have at their disposal.
Wario? Like I'm sorry, he's strong, but I can't foresee him being...
What? He's also able to cause earthquakes.
We have escaped the realm of reasonable and easy explanations. Now I have to list each and every possible thing this character will do to just demonstrate just the absurd levels of power they have. Or, you know, they just happen to do one big fucking thing that happens to explain why they're so goddamn strong. So, how about we level this out with a villain that's often compared to Bowser in terms of power?
Hey, that's me!
And I'm doing you a solid putting you up here. Be happy.
But I'm immortal!
Yeah, so is Wario.
I'm basically a reborn god! Well, at least I'm higher than the Fire Emblem characters.
Yeah, about that.
Oh, not him! Why him?
You mean them?
Wait, there's two of them?
Byleth may at first seem like your typical blue-haired Fire Emblem protagonist, but there's a big difference. I hate pistachio. So this is a goddess. She's in your soul. Get out of there, you freak. For whatever reason, she gives you the power to turn back time and you have a crest. Not that Fire Emblem. And eventually, you fuse with her. Escaping a pocket dimension and receiving a huge power boost. Anyways, the main claim to fame is the Sword of the Creator. This bag of bones has been shown to beat a giant dragon who can survive an onslaught of missiles.
Wait, I thought we were talking about Fire Emblem.
Yeah, me too.
And don't look at me, I'm just the messenger. Anyways, back to, you. So, Ganon's normal form isn't much of an interesting thing to write home about, but his main power from Ocarina of Time is the Triforce of Power. It allows him to lay waste to the entire kingdom, corrupt beings, spawn monsters, destroy his castle. So he's not weak, but we don't really see much communicated by it. He could beat a lot of the characters in the tier below him, but it's hard to say if he could do much more. Yes, he can only be beat by the Sword of Evil's Bane. Okay, but it's like those iPhone videos, you know? Let's drop him off into a black hole and see what happens.
Hey, you okay, buddy?
Just leave me alone.
But okay, who sits beside DK and Byleth? Two pillars of strength. Well, at this point, it all comes down to who's tangled with the largest of land masses. Here are two characters with a lot of skin in the game.
Wait, isn't that 3?
Xenoblade fans, let me level with you. All right, we're done here. I truly did not know how to even begin talking about this character. You know what? Sakurai spoiled it, not me. Pyra and Mithra are the same character. Characters like Pyra and Mithra in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are called blades. Basically, your sword is a Pokemon and they need to be utilized by a driver. However, in this game, they happen to be the legendary Aegis Blade, one of the most powerful, being able to grow and adapt as they sustain damage. The only caveat is,
You kill Rex. You take care of them. Except they're also immortal, so they could technically come back if they have a driver. I don't understand Xenoblade. Am I supposed to?
So what about them is powerful? Well, one character named Malos, plot, said he could wipe out one of these titans.
Are we talking like Shadow the Colossus or Saturn's moon titans?
Titans are the floating islands they live on.
The Aegis sank 3 continents to the Cloud Sea's bed.
3 titans destroyed.
Yeah, that's what she said, idiot! This is also on top of the fact they have varied elemental abilities and,
Can I level for a second? Like, this character has given me so much turmoil They are the character that made me have to decide just how I even define the word character. Because they have two personalities and they need to be utilized with Rex as a blade, and also maybe they even have a third personality or persona that is them, but it isn't them, and if it was them, then they would be absolutely busted and shoot up to S rank, possibly. So yeah, for all, you know what? You guys can handle that one. I tried. I really did. I really did. I need a drink. So believe it or not, there's a character more naked than Pyra.
I love Mewtwo. It's so easy when you know it's just that classic ridiculous shit. Like Shrek ketchup, or the Buzz Lightyear bottle. Mewtwo had a chokehold on the planet. You had problems if you didn't see this movie. Here, he completely mind-controlled creatures across the planet. Psychokinesis, force fields, shadow balls, powers that overtake all of the magic users on this tier list, probably.
Put on some clothes, you slut.
But feed me the Uncrustable. Where's the garbage, Alex? Alright, so we have your favorite catch-all rock, a meteorite. In Omega Ruby and Sapphire, Mega Rayquaza, Baba Booey's the Meteor, and...
Squidward, this guy had a Pokemon.
So, Deoxys was controlling the Meteor, apparently? Well, guess what? No, Mewtwo, that's not what you're supposed to do. Mewtwo, although weaker, skewers Deoxys. Deoxys is strong, Mewtwo is strong, Baba Boom. He really wins the award 2 years running.
Dudes will brag about their meal prep and it'll literally look like this.
Oh, Bowser looks alone up there. We should give him some company.
Mega Man and Samus. It's really cool to compare the two of them just to see how busted each of them are. So they have weapons that nearly cover every elemental status. They both are incredibly fast, have insane jump height, resistance to cold or solar temperatures. I mean, they're insane.
It shocks me in my research that Mega Man's like one of the few characters where a lot of his powers are evident in his NES games, where he's stopping time, throwing out nuclear powered attacks, and also creating black holes. But between Samus and Mega Man, who's stronger?
Samus just may be the strongest character in Smash Bros. Outside of characters that crunch gods between their legs. Under the suit, she's a super soldier trained in alien martial arts and possesses precognition. Meaning, she already knew I said this sentence. Samus obliterates armies of aliens. I'm not even sure some of them want to be here in the first place. Like, you don't know, he just wants to get to his date. She also defeats enemies that are just kind of gigantic, huge eldritch beasts. You just don't get it. It's not just a woman in a suit.
Sure, it's like that on the NES, but this thing has evolved to be a living thing on its own, and now
May as well be magic with the amount of bullshit it has. Sure, it squishes her into a Cheerio. Delicious. But what kind of damage are we talking about? Well, this character can freeze the entire surface of a planet. She can survive the surface of a sun. She has the power bomb, which is just a little nuke she throws off time to time. She fights beings that can destroy the planetary crust of a planet. And the Hyper Beam, which just does a little spring cleaning of all your molecules. And if Samus is here, you know her foes also land up here as well. Due to his feats of casually raffle-coptering Samus's ship, have a little fire breath, a laser blast, incredible flying speeds, it's no wonder he just holds planets hostage, you know? The thing that takes him over the top, though? Nintendo Land. Look at my boy! Finally, Dark Samus. I think we all have enough lived experience to understand how a disgusting disease could take over an entire planet. And if Samus didn't stop her, that's probably what would have happened to the universe. Not to mention, she just copies all of Samus's abilities and fights Samus at full power, so... I love gaming tropes. They make broken characters for free.
We made it to A tier. So, of the characters we have left, who's first?
In 2008, when they added this Retro Cupid character to Smash, did I think he'd return only to take out several gods on the 3DS? Wait, you had that?
oh yeah, sure, rub it in, you have a secure attachment style.
Just looking at this on-rail shooter. Huh. It's just a little dingus going boom, boom, boom to like Hades, Medusa, God of Fire. Yeah, awesome. He also fights Palutena, who is immortal. Also, throw Dark Pit in there because they're the same. This choice was educated by the fact that Pit fights characters who have the ability to move large planetary masses across the galaxy. We also have things like the 3 sacred treasures. He uses these to take down many of his foes. I love how I have to spend an hour researching some characters, and then, you know, just the stupid angel has just all of this for whatever reason.
Victory!
So they want to fly high, reach the heavens, but if Palutena's, they're done for. They can't move any higher on this tier list. Sort of a wreck situation, except they're actually in Smash. To give you a sense of what we're dealing with now, okay, so, you know, creating universes, destroying them. How about becoming one with them? Yeah.
Ness and characters like him make it hard to make a tier list like this because we're told they do a lot and have a lot of power, but the frame in which we get that information isn't exactly compelling. Do we have to look at Pit again? So, his PK abilities. They already have him being a pretty tough customer against most of the other tiers. Teleportation, healing, status ailment, barriers. But this is his only game appearance, Mother 2. You know I'm a gamer because I set the Japanese name. This is the only thing we have to go off of. And due to the sprite art and abstractly communicated events, I elected to put him lower than maybe some people would. Godspeed. This is because it is said that he creates a universe in his own mind. But like, what does that actually mean? Add on top of that, we have a certain text box that says he becomes one with the universe. And he puts his mind into a robot to go to the past to fight this incomprehensible godly being named Gygas. Do you understand how this doesn't make any sense? We don't even know what Gygas looks like, let alone is.
Wait, I got it. You know I'm right.
But you know, it's also Earthbound. Some dude floats down in the most impossible of locations just to get a picture of you for the credits. So, Ness being here, it might seem good.
Sir, I think you might have the wrong area.
Wait, what's that?
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's him.
Well, like most of Akira Toriyama's creations, the Luminary defeats a god. His goal is aimed at destroying an ancient evil, sealed away until the very end of the game. Yep, it's this thing. You'd be right if you saw him and you compared him to the C-tier characters and be like, you tell me this guy can't beat him? Like, yeah, right. Well, the true final boss, Kalasmos, destroyed the creator of the universe. It was only up to a past hero to seal him, and now, well, the Luminary has to deal with it. So here we go! Hero is a reborn version of the legendary hero Erdrick, who was created by the god of creation, who was defeated by Kalasmos. Ah! Is there context I'm missing here where this isn't that impressive? Because I don't know what to make of it.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Da di da 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 da. Da la 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 li da da. Da 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 di da da. Da li da 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 da.
Salmon Belmont. You telling me Catholic Romanians eating mutton from the wall, crunch, interstellar travelers, demonic space dragons, super machines, and literal angels?
Yeah.
Brace yourself. Simon and Richter. The entire series takes place in Dracula's castle, where you fight the big Drac himself.
So what? I say, knowing the answer.
Dracula's castle? It's a dimension that Dracula created, alongside everything inside it.
I really did this. I'm really him.
Yeah, okay, cool. Great, I'm stoked. I'm Bram stoked. So, them just beating a nigh invincible and broken character is where we get a lot of these characters having a lot more power than you would have expected from them. What's your workout in the 1600s? Beat an immortal demon. Okay, so just please, no judgment. Judgment, the Death Note styled, possibly non-canon fighting game on the Wii is where the long and short is, the villain of this game, the Time Reaper, tries to destroy multiple timelines.
But can he dodge these hands?
Like, okay, Simon and Richter, they're still pretty powerful in their own right. Can utilize all their abilities like disintegrating enemies with holy water, stopping time, as well as defeating undead beings like death. I mean, it's pretty close to what everyone else is doing here. Okay, sure, yeah, whatever.
Okay, where is he? There he is. Hey, this is my guy. Hey. Another high schooler that beats up gods behind the bleachers. It's Mr. John Persona himself. In the real world, he's nuts at batting cages, gets perfect grades, can steam like a lobster, and hit on your mom. But a single piece of chalk, he's done for. Bro's built like a Korean chopstick. How is he this high? In Persona, characters will manifest their powers in an alternate dimension parallel to the real world called the metaverse. Here, the power of their will allows them to face off against monstrous beings, dragons, gods, a dick, as well as, beings that reshape reality, destroy the perception of reality. Did I mention alter reality? Did I mention that? What's more, like his persona abilities, he can reflect and absorb damage. He can use any sort of elemental ability you could imagine. Also, he has this teensy tiny ability called Almighty that ignores all sorts of resistances and exceptions. Just don't tell any of the girls he's talking to in the real world that he's cheating, or he will literally stop existing.
And
they call it Final Fantasy, but isn't there like 17 of them? There is no possible way I can convey all of the Mako pools and Red 13s, Zax, and even the Geneva Conventions. Does any of this make any sense to you people? Am I insane? Cloud is a soldier at the start of the game with a lot of mental health issues, but this somehow makes him strong apparently. But he eventually does have access to spells that are called materia. So, he has access to any sort of elemental ability you want. Got your fireballs, you got your meteorites, your blasts. He's pretty set up. Where he really ascends are his limit breaks and,
a smudge or something?
You see, summons in Final Fantasy do your typical sort of video game, raw level, final all-out Gigantamax team blast. You're standing around, you do a little cutscene, and now you're back to standing around. Except these ones actually occur. These are happening in the lore. It is described as taking you to a pocket dimension where what you see is actually happening. So, the Knights of the Round have King Arthur strike with Excalibur and or Bahamut Fury that creates its own dimension with stars, meaning if you beat him, you can beat an entire universe. I really had to make a hard choice here. Do I include this stuff and be wrong? Or do I not include this stuff and be wrong?
I can say a lot of words, but what elevates Cloud...
Destiny comes.
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
So, Sephiroth. At a base level, he's actually no slouch. Extremely athletic, a strong soldier, and has a bunch of magical attacks. See, the government doesn't control the weather, it's just this guy.
Can we move on now?
And the creators say that this is actually a real thing that occurs and they persist through. So there you go. That's where we're at. That is where we're at.
And since we're here anyways...
I like to shoot straight with people. Sora has the power to destroy multiverses. Just not in the way you expect. He doesn't palm them. Just Kingdom Hearts is dumb. That's all that really needs to be said, huh folks? Can we move on?
Pull yourself together, you piece of shit.
No matter if I explain this, for the people that know, I'm gonna under-explain it, and for the people that don't know, I'm gonna over-explain it. Okay, let's see here. Heartless, Nobody's, Heart, Realms. Oh my god, what is Stitch doing here? Honestly, when reading all this stuff, it is incredibly hard for me to stay absolutely lucid when I'm reading these calculations and physics demonstrations, all alongside lore tidbits where Mickey Mouse is banishing Pete to the Shadow Realm. Well, again, He has anything an RPG character could possibly do. But he also has summons of all your favorite Disney characters that... Wait, what? Sora also got some juicy new stuff in recent years as he's completed his quest. Sora can rewrite time and space. Sora can defeat those who have the ability to turn every universe into nothing. Sora can beat death, and has. That's all just a lot of words, but here's some gameplay.
I think an easier angle to this is to say that Goofy probably scales to Sephiroth. This is still not the dumbest thing I have to say in this video.
Are we finished?
Can we talk about something reasonable now? Seeing Sonic right now is like having your first meal in 14 hours and it's Burger King. Sonic is an odd one, but in his lore, he has defeated gods outside of time and space, saved the Earth a bunch, won a skateboarding race, but I hear ya. You might contest Sonic being all the way up here.
So there's this big planet thing from Sonic Frontiers. It's kind of huge, a little bit of a big deal. Sonic kind of goes... A stern conversation could have worked too.
Finally, I get to talk about Sonic. You know how exciting this is for me? He can time travel, travel dimensions, escape dimensions, destroy people who make dimensions.
But the thing that brings Sonic up is his speed. He can travel at the speed of light at a minimum. His top speed is... You know, I actually just mashed my number pad, but I think that's an underestimate.
With Sonic, it's actually incredibly easy to see his feats because a lot of them are right in your face, just like his attitude. But if you remember, I said Sonic was number 3 last time. So what character took the spot over him?
So, remember when I said you should hit the bricks if you see a character?
Today, we use our power to fell a god.
Shulk becomes a god. Specifically, the god of creation. He basically decides what happens to his reality at the end of the game. Even before this, the Monado as an artifact, it's quite literally broken. It gives him Monado arts that allow him to do what we've seen, but literally has a skill hack that makes him a proficient fighter as he's using it. Shulk has the power to change the future, and I mean that literally. He can see the future and change the events as they happen, thus creating a new future. So between being able to see what's gonna happen to him and his crazy sword and his crazy powers of godliness, I think Shulk should be up here. Shulk isn't higher because he doesn't actually possess this power throughout the end of his game. He decides to withhold it.
Tell me your decision for the future of this world.
I won't decide. The future should be decided by each and every person in the world.
But I still think there's an argument to be made for his abilities and what he actually possesses in his series.
And wow, you know, my friends are affording houses right now, and this is what I decide to spend a month doing. But our final 2 characters are unlike many of the characters on this list. For instead of me having to do hours upon hours of research, citing sources and ensuring that I'm very accurate, these 2 are no-brainers. These 2 absolutely earn their spot without any question. Ladies and gentlemen, Bayonetta and Kirby.
To say Bayonetta and Kirby are up here is as easy as breathing. Bayonetta in any gameplay I post here overcomes insanely ridiculous things. Stop that. Whether it's fighting armies of cronies, which by the way are stronger than most of this list. Take this thing. That's the final boss.
Nope, that is basically the Goomba of this game. And it's an angel.
Or, yo, check this. That was the opening cutscene for the game. Or just handling godly beings in style. Take this thing. That's the final boss. But for real this time. And it's the capital G god of this world.
You know, final bosses, they're impactful, they're cool. It's nice to get the final hit of that final boss and save the day, but...
Then, in Bayo 3, there's Singularity.
Who in the world of chaos is apparently slicing up universes in the multiverse and grinding them together like he's making a Wagyu beef burger. And as much as I like to say that I came up with that analogy, that is verbatim from the game. Bayonetta with her combat skills alone overtake most of who come her way, but when you mix in Witch Time and her summons, that's what pretty much edges her over the top. As an Umbra Witch, her physical age is halted, and she pretty much can survive all of eternity. Witch Time as an ability slows down time for Bayonetta to the point where it's almost stopped. So basically, she can react to pretty much any character below her on this tier list. There's only a few holdouts like Shulk, Sonic, maybe even Samus, but she would be able to overpower them with her skills alone. I'm sure you know what happens now. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Nintendo and Smash Bros.'s honest-to-goodness, uncontested, strongest, and overpowered character. He's a little guy who gets attacked in his dreams. He creates inexplicable clones of himself to dance with, and he accepts his fate as a golf ball. Okay, I know Kirby is strong, but he can beat all of what these guys throw at him?
Yeah. And if you're new to these discussions, you're probably like, hold on, Kirby, that Kirby, the one I jump off the stage in Super Smash Bros. With, how is this possible? How could he possibly do that? Don't these other characters survive meteors? Oh yeah, but Kirby uses them to bat through several planets. And that's just barely it. Kirby does so much, and it's so not worth talking about because it's so regular. It happens so frequently.
So as you may know, Kirby is only as strong as the villains he beats. This is also true for Meta Knight and King Dedede. They go in a tier far below him, but Kirby sits at the top. First and foremost, Drossia. There is evidence in guidebooks and character descriptions that she was so jealous of the real world that she turned the universe into a world of paint. So there's one universal threat handled, but let's say we don't count that. We have Magolor. He created another dimension. Well, I mean, it's also that, but that's the actual name. After you defeat Magolor with the Master Crown, the dimension collapses as you, Meta Knight, and oh my god, Bandana Waddle Dee might be A tier. And that was the most ridiculous thing I said in this video. But yeah, that's why those two make it to A tier themselves. But Kirby has more examples of what he's done, like I could go on. Let's see, splitting Popstar in the Megaton Punch minigame, Glacia also making a clay galaxy that Kirby fixes, Kirby pushing walls that are other dimensions, Kirby beats Nightmare and Marks, Kirby and the gang survive Void Termina, blowing up 2 galaxies. It's funny that canonically the smallest characters make up the top and bottom of this tier list.
25 hours of footage, and here we are, the final product. This might be the most comprehensive tier list on this discussion ever. And yet, I don't feel like it's right. I feel like in trying to make it so perfect, I've basically whittled these characters down into events, into data, and they've completely lost any semblance of who they actually are.
And even then, can we really say it's accurate? Even in my research, when you look at some character discussions, you're gonna find more material on characters that are more popular.
Careful now.
Do I want to live in the world where the strength of the Mario universe is communicated through one cutscene in Mario fucking Power Tennis? A ton of things characters do, from Kirby and Bayonetta to Bowser and Ryu, are things that are done in the service of gameplay, the story, or more simply, they just want something to be funny or cool. Ness's encounter with Gygus is abstract, but that's the point. Bayonetta is just overpowered to look cool because it's fun.
I feel like a fucking celebrity in this town.
Is this really how we want to view our characters? Is this the right way to do this?
You can go further.
Yeah, I could probably do better. Mario Luigi fight Dreamy Bowser in Mario Luigi Dream Team, where he has the power of 100,000 universes. S tier. Oh, and Pyro and Mithra's final form, they're S tier, just no comment. Oh, and all the immortal characters, they have to go in S, because they can't be killed. Oh, but Ness can become the entire universe, S tier. Joker can go into your mind and kill you, S tier. Steve can carry a full inventory of netherite, which weighs 6 billion kilograms, S tier. And Olimar could climb into your...
I've killed your president.
Actually, he is just a YouTuber.
Oh. Well, your problem now.
Should we revive him?